What's going on, you guys? So I wanted to cover Dev Diary number 2 for Distant Worlds 2. I'm a little bit behind the times here because this came out on August 4th, but what can you do? Life. All right, let's take a look at this. I'm probably going to have to zoom in a little bit because, yeah, my eyes suck. This diary will discuss some of the story behind the galaxy of Distant Worlds 2, an interesting place for you to explore. One of the best parts of Distant Worlds is that the galaxy is present in full detail and alive. There are always things going on almost everywhere you look. Much less is abstracted away than in many other 4X games, where you may only see the ships in your military fleets, or a system may be represented just by a star and a few major planets, or where the galaxy really is just star systems. Points, if you will, connected by lines that determine where you can go. Yeah, there's a lot of games that do that, and it bugs the crap out of me. Where, like, good example is Star Wars Empires at War, where if you want to go from one side of the galaxy to the other, you gotta follow this line. It's just ugh. In Distant Worlds 2, you have all of space, both the systems themselves and every bit of space within them, every planet, moon, and asteroid. What? Wow. But also the space between systems, including nebula, ion radiation, gravitic storms. As soon as I just read that, I started thinking about Battlestar Galactica. That nebula where in the first, I guess the pilot, whatever, where the Cylons destroy everything and the Galactica is retooling, getting guns and stuff like that. It would be kind of cool. Let's put like a military base inside a nebula where nobody knows where you're at. That would be sick. I hope they include something like that. Like it disrupts sensors and stuff. Ooh. Exploration, travel, battles, and everything else can happen anywhere within that space. I can't believe you can go on the asteroid. It's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. I love it. We'll get into some more of what exploration is like in a future diary, but in terms of story, this allows us a lot of room to work with to places all kinds of remnants of the ancient galaxy, as well as unique characteristics and bonuses which separate one planet, moon, star, or asteroid from another. You may find ancient ruins, fragments of data revealing previously unknown locations, abandoned or partially destroyed ships. Nice! The remains of ancient fleet battles, a unique planetary feature, and so on and so forth. All of this is present at the generation of the galaxy, but some things are much more easier to find than others. Some can only be found by the best explorers, and some are much more easier to find once you have the right clues to point you in the right direction. Each generated Distant Worlds 2 galaxy is a truly huge playground with a great many hidden discoveries waiting to be found. My gosh, this game sounds... Only word that pops up is perfection. I mean, I'm not even like exaggerating here. This sounds just epic. However, it's not just these more static discoveries that await you in space. First of all, you have what we call pirates, though their full story is much more complex than the brief description or what first impressions will likely suggest. They'll challenge you initially as they're used to having a monopoly on space. You'll likely have to repel their raids and decide whether to focus on destroying them or accepting their terms to some degree in order to negotiate a peace. No, destroy them. They do know more than you about the galaxy if you're willing to pay their price. Ooh, that's interesting. The Vaga Corporation. Let's take a look at this. All right. Ooh, reveal independent colony. Contact another empire. Ooh. I can get a system map from them. That is cool. Military refueling. Ooh. That is cool. Okay, wow. That is cool. I like that. Military refueling. There are also creatures of unusual size and origins that exist in space and travel between the stars. The origins are for you to discover, but you will find them a significant obstacle to expansion in some systems and navigation hazard in others. Here we can make out a Gavilex in the distance, which has just missed slicing open a fleeing human frigate with its energy beam weapon. These are remarkably aggressive creatures that did not exist in the ancient galaxy, but they are now found in significant numbers, often feeding on stars for their energy. Ooh. The type of star they have been feeding on also has a significant effect on how dangerous a given Gravelix may be. So that's the Gravelix. Nice. I'd turn around and fight it. Here's an Argillus, normally a much more passive denizens of space that is usually found around gas giants. Beware, though, as it is quite territorial if you come too close, as this Mortallin escort just discovered. Oh, snap. That don't look too good. Wow. Nice. There are also the dreaded Vorticar, but it's quite stealthy. And the last 3 exploration ships we sent into the asteroids to find one for you never returned. I promise we'll show you one in the future dev diary. But beyond all this, though, we have expanded main story as well as a faction story for each of our playable factions. Humans, I'm not going to be able to pronounce any of these. Mortallin, Hakonish. Ooh, that's like a Star Trek one, I think. Xenox, Boscara, and Tikon. This is a major effort above and beyond anything that Distant Worlds universe had, involving the creation of a new story and event system, which allows us to do much more than we could in the past, including event and story choices. Ooh. And this is also open to players and modders who wish to tinker and use the system for their own uses. I can imagine a Star Trek mod right away. Each faction in Distant Worlds 2 by default represents a certain play style. For example, the Mortallin are disciplined warriors, which means that their faction story and faction victory conditions will tend to reinforce that playstyle and reward playing them in that way. While the main story will reveal some information about the ancient galaxy and what happened in the past, each faction story will reveal more about specific background and events that involve that faction, as well as giving the player a great chance to be the first to find some truly unique and rewarding locations. By playing through all the faction stories, the most complete account of the ancient galaxy can be pieced together. As for an example, here's a shot in the cheat mode, showing all a small selection of some placed main and faction story elements across a section of the generated galaxy on top of the normal hidden bonuses, ruins, and discoveries. Each of those little labels indicates either a single, even, or the initial trigger of an event chain. Of course, you won't have the chief to guide you in your own galaxy. You never know, modders might find that. They're very resourceful. But if you explore well and boldly, you should have plenty of good stories to tell. What? That's nuts. Pirate ambush. Main story. And this is probably just like a section of it too, because you can see there's a little bit more down here. Research progress. Refugee fleet. That's going to be cool. Debris ancient Xanax explanation. Main story, debris fields. That's cool. I mean, I'm gonna play just for the 4X. You know, the storyline is gonna be nice, but just I don't know, the economy system, the military system, the strategic and / tactical engines combined into one. Like, this is not like where you go into, you know, like Star Wars Empires at War, where, you know, you move your system here, your fleet here, and they move their fleet here, and then you go into like a, you know, space battle. It's not like that. You literally have your fleet going in here, and then you just zoom by just scrolling right into that system, and you know, zooming in, and the ships just appear. There's no loading screen. I just love that. You know, it's just motivating. All right. As always, we want to let you play the game your way. So in the Galaxy setup, you can choose to enable or disable pirates, space creatures, and the main and faction stories. Love that. Thank you. As well as tailoring the amount and strength of pirates and space creatures. You could also disable faction victory conditions and change the government and play your chosen faction in a different way. Wow. We look at the Galaxy as your sandbox and want to give you the tools to make sure it's set up the way you like it to be. I hope this sheds some light on Distant Worlds 2 Galaxy and what your own Distant World story might be like. I'll be back in a couple weeks with a new developer diary for you all. My gosh, man. It's just, it's hard to ponder, you know, like, it really is, like, because this is like Stellaris on steroids, you know? Because, you know, in Stellaris, right, you can get like a strategic view and then go into the system view, which technically is basically two separate engines in essence. But here it's just one seamless experience, and that's just remarkable, you know. And the tactical combat in this game is going to be much more. I mean, Slaughters doesn't really have tactical combat. You see the fleets just attacking each other and stuff like that. You can move them here or there, I think, but not really much. You're pretty much just standing by and watching. Here you actually get to maneuver your ships and launch fighters and split the fleet. I mean, you could do a whole bunch of things, which is crazy. And then you see these things like military refueling. Like, wow, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, man, I just love it. I just every time I learn more about this game, it's just ridiculous. Like moons, like I could set up a whole base on a moon, or like a smaller, I don't know, like maybe base on an asteroid. I wonder if the asteroids actually move from like one system to another. So imagine building like military base with like a weapon on here, and as it flows through the galaxy, you know. I mean, that would be kind of crazy. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me zoom out. There we go. Yeah, this is some good stuff, guys. I am motivated. I'm just, wow. This is huge. I'm just hoping that after Distant Worlds 2 comes out, this developer right here, let me get their name here. I always forget developers' names. Code Force. Do a Star Trek game. You know, I know Star Trek. I know Alex Kurtzman, who runs Star Trek now. I know they're looking at Star Trek gaming, and I can't think of anybody better than Code Force, Matrix Games, Slitherine to do it, because look at this game. This game is ridiculous. This game is everything we want from 4X game. Just spread this around for Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever. You know, it would be awesome. All right, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Catch you next one. See you then.